Whoa, those are some graphics. Oh my god. All right. Oh, this is Jesus. Judd'z Budz episode. God, now I can't even see it. Up 134. The Wayne Gretzky plus Manny Fernandez episode. As always, our host Spoke Z, joined by my good buddy, Mr. at State of Hoppy. Hoppy, how we doing?
We're doing. We got some bullshit we're dealing with for a job interview process. I'm on what's now the third final interview.
I hate that, dude.
Isn't it fun, dude?
Let's figure this out, fellas.
Well, it's even more fun though, because like this one, I get through what was originally the final step, and then was told, okay, now we're gonna set you up for your final interview, and I'm just like, yeah, you said that the last one did something like happen? They're like, oh yeah, actually no one's made it this far, so I forgot. I'm like, okay, I can get on board with that, I guess. Now we got this next one where like we're waiting to coordinate with the assistant for redacted name, because redacted name is out of the country for the week. And I'm like, I've never heard of this person, so why is this person also part of it when the last like invitation headline said final interview? It literally, like, she added it in for my reassurance. And now it's like, oh yeah, so you're talking to this guy like we've always talked about. I'm like, no. No.
You're crazy.
We always
when did we discuss this? I don't think that happened. I understand 2, 3. What are we doing? You know, like, I'm almost insulted by a third one. I'm like, all right, really?
That's the thing. It's like it can go two ways now. It's either, oh, like I'm like barely hanging on and you keep on putting me through new people because you want to come up with a reason to say no, or you want to make me the CEO. I'm leaning towards the first one.
Yeah.
What is going on?
It can't be anything else. It's got to be one of those two. Definitely. Those are the only two possibilities. Yeah, no, fuck a third interview, but also hope it goes well and you get it or whatever. So hope it goes well, but also fuck that interview. You should lead off with, I just want you to know I'm very insulted by, you're not sure after meeting me twice already. Like, all right, dicks. Well, hey, good luck with that.
Yeah. What about you? Things good?
NHL hockey's back, and
it is.
Our predictions look real good. It's only
the amount of people that are already victory lapping on preseason picks is insane to me. Yeah. Also, the amount of people that think that they're like the first to be fans of Utah is like also pretty funny. Like, oh yeah, everyone jumped on after we said it. It's like, what? Like, there's so many people that have been talking about it for a while. Like,
as I said, people forget that I said this a week ago. Yeah, no, doing a victory lap is nuts when there's 1, 2, 3.
Unless it's purely satire.
There's still 3 teams that have played 1 hockey game.
All I needed to see.
Half the leagues played like 2. And I mean, the victory laps, like the Nashville thing, we're gonna touch on different teams in general. But like, I'm already seeing people eviscerating like Nashville and Steven Stamkos, which I'm like, bro, what the fuck? Like, leave him alone. It's been 2 fucking games.
It's a show me business, Z. Show me business. But yeah, action-packed show today. We've got 4 kind of sort of segments here. We've got first knee-jerk shell. That's just going to be purely us reacting to only what's happened so far and taking it as gospel, and it's going to be fun. The not weird segment, if you don't know what that's about, then you haven't been around very long. Judd'z Budz talking Minnesota Wild prospects. And of course, we've got some rises and fallers already. This is actually way earlier than we started talking about the draft last year, Z. I know we kind of did like the summer preview, and then it was like, all right, we are not allowed to talk about this until December. So early action.
Yep, that's right. So, I mean, I guess in that case, let's just kick this off. Where do we want to start, dude, with the knee-jerk reactions? Because, like...
Well, I want to know where your vote lies for the Hart Trophy. And the nominees as the season ends today are Cole Caulfield, Dylan Guenther, and a real dark horse that popped out of nowhere. You could have made a ton of money off this guy, Jonathan Huberdeau. Where's your vote?
I'm riding the Dylan Guenther train all the way, dude. As you and I said, people, no one else said this. Utah, very good at hockey, it would appear. The first 2 games here, just lost their first game today to the Devils. Dylan Guenther scored what in their first 3 games? He scored in each of their first 3. And my God, does he look good? Logan Cooley looks good.
Dude, what a bad contract that was.
Yeah, no, terrible. What a bad idea to lock him up for what, less than $8 million? Yeah. But Dylan Guenther looks incredible. And another guy that I'm really happy for on Utah that, I mean, last year, like his first real solid full NHL year of like producing decent offense is a guy like Barrett Hayton. He also looks really good playing in that top 6 role. And I mean, that was a much maligned pick. He was obviously drafted way too high. That's not the player's fault. And had quite a slow start, but he looks really good. I mean, is he ever going to be a point per game guy? Probably not. But like the fact that he is playing a solid 2-way role, and he's chipping in some decent offense, and he's facilitating as a playmaker with those other top dogs there, like he looks great. So I'm happy for a guy like Barrett Hayton. And Utah is a very fun hockey team to watch. My God,
fun. What are your thoughts on the jerseys?
I'm indifferent. Like it's funny because I think it's funny because it is very much like a backyard sports logo thing that's going on. And it's like Utah hockey. It's just like, but like, it's different, simple, but different.
Yeah.
I think they're fine. Like at no point was I watching any of their first 2 games and thinking these fucking jerseys, like that thought never even popped into my head. So,
sure.
I mean, people need to like have these crazy knee-jerk reactions to things, but I think they're fine. They look good. Like it's fine. I like the colors.
I like the colors. It's simple, but not in a bad way. I love how big the jersey numbers are too. They just pop.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy to read them. And I like with the color contrast, like at least with their dark jerseys, like having the black jersey and then having that just big number, kind of like when the Kings first came on with their shield jerseys. When they went on the, on that little stretch of cup runs, like I like a big, simple number that you just like, what you're looking at. It pops at you. I also just like, they're very neutral to me, right? Mm-hmm. Like you said, like it's nothing crazy. I think there's so many jerseys that are so notedly worse. And this is from teams like actually trying on their branding. Like I probably put them somewhere right around the middle of the pack in the league, and they didn't even try.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Like it's fine. Like it.
The problem is if their jerseys next year look worse than these ones, what do you do? Also, you're going to ask the same question. Go.
If they just not keep this up, like they're not going to finish like a 750 win percent or point percentage. But like if they finish top 3, make the playoffs and like win a play, do they change the name or are they stuck as Utah Hockey Club? It'd be really funny if like they made the playoffs 10 years in a row. And then the first year they didn't make the playoffs, they finally changed the name. They finally got a name that's not Utah Hockey Club. But
also, like what you just said is going to send people through their windows. Oh yeah. 10 years in a row that Utah made it to the playoffs.
All I said was it would be funny. It would be funny if they like just kept making the playoffs and making runs. And then at the first time they didn't make the playoffs, they're like, all right, I guess we'll get a name now. And they've had it in the chamber. Like we keep making the fucking playoff. We've had this name for 8 years. Like we just haven't been able to use. Like we're not going to change it now. But very fun hockey team. And again, guys like Logan Cooley, Dylan Guenther, Barrett Hayton, Clayton Keller. My God, is he fucking good at hockey? Jesus Christ. They look awesome. So very happy for Utah and those fans. That barn was rocking.
So I don't know what truth there is to it, but I was listening to Ray and Dregs earlier today, and apparently Cooley and Guenther are rooming together, and they actually had their water shut off because they forgot to pay the bill.
I feel like once every year, once every 2 years, we hear stories about these like young rookies doing something like that. I forget, there was another two rookies living together like a year or two ago. It may have been on the center. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But like they also were like, we did. Oh no, I think it was actually. Nope, never mind. I thought it was another group of Arizona, or well, formerly. I don't know, whatever.
This sucks so much for Arizona fans too.
Oh, yeah, no, it's brutal.
Dick.
It's brutal. I feel so bad. Like again, we've said this at the time. Like the fans weren't the problem. So yeah, this has got to be a real kick in the teeth to watch what's going on. I wonder if, like, are they fans? I feel like I'd be conflicted.
No, they're gonna basically play it that like if the team is good and if they like want to go for the ride, they have every right to, but they can absolutely jump on with any other team they want should they choose. Like they're gonna kind of wait.
Sweet spot.
I think Thanksgiving is kind of where the Arizona fans are gonna pop out, be like, we've decided who we're gonna follow. Like
kind of a sweet spot. Kind of like a nice, like, hey, the rightful bandwagon, like a virtuous bandwagon fan.
If I'm a true, like, I like grew up in Arizona, like was like tried to support the Coyotes for as long as I could, and this happens, I personally, the spin zone in my head is I'm absolutely cheering for Utah because I absolutely want to shove it down that douchebag Morelos' throat. Like, oh, weird. Look what happens when you just care a little bit about your fucking team. Like,
I feel like I'd be in the boat of when I'm watching the games, because again, like you as a fan, you grow attached to the players or whatever.
Yeah.
I would be like the biggest fan during the game, then they win, I'm all fired up, and then 5 minutes after the game's over, I'm like, fuck. Like, oh man, I want to go to the game. Like, this is fuck them. I hate them. Like, I'd be pissed, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's tough. But the other fun thing about Utah, high event hockey, a lot of high scoring games. I think they've got like 16 goals for and 13, 14 goals against. So high event hockey. Love that. Always love high event hockey. So yeah.
We got to talk, dude. How good are the Montreal Canadiens?
The best team in the league. One of the best teams in the league. Opening night, the most Toronto Maple Leaf opening night loss ever. I think they had 47 shots on net and got shut out 1-0 by Sam Montembeault, who is playing. I think he's played both of the games that he's been in. He's been incredible. Like they're getting outshot by like ×2, and like he is out of his mind. So good for Sam Montembeault. I think that was like I don't know if it was just Montreal. If it was Montreal, I feel like in that case it'd probably be NHL-wide. But like opening night shutout, the most saves, and like the last 10 minutes of the third period in that first game versus Toronto was pouring it on. Like it was nonstop grade A's. It was basically like there was no Canadians other than Sam Montembeault on the ice. And he was like, Jesus Christ, flying around, making absurd diving saves. It was like, I just tore something in my own fucking leg, like watching him sprawl out, make these ridiculous 10-bell saves. So yeah, what are they? They're 2-1 now, yeah.
Oh, dude, speaking of Canadians, here's a knee-jerk reaction that might not even be that knee-jerk. Is Montembeault going to be Canada's goalie?
I have no idea.
It's possible.
I mean, I guess if what he's up to now, he's going off.
I'm less worried about that than his competition, but
well, yeah. Also, Lane Hudson, I think he's got 4 points in his first 3 games this year.
Not even playing on the peeper.
Yeah, I think they're all even strength, right? Yeah, they are.
Dude,
he looks good. Caden Gooley looks good. Like the young guys, I mean, their top 4 of their top 5 are it's Slavkovsky, Gooley, Hudson, and Caulfield.
Well, and it's also awesome that Caulfield's repping 13 for
very
hero
cool.
of his, Johnny Gaudreau, and he's torching.
Yeah. He's got 4 goals. Oh, God, I needed to go for the Cy Young. 4 goals, no assists. 2 of those are game winners, only 1 on the power play. Yeah, I mean, we said this about Montreal too. Like, there's going to be games where they win, and it's like the young guys that are going to be going off a little bit here and there. They're going to eventually hit a speed bump. But as much as I hate the fucking Canadians, it's very fun watching the young players that we've tracked for a long time, like leading up to the draft. It's very fun watching them hit the NHL and pop off. So again, very happy for Lane Hudson.
What did you think of the interaction between Hudson and Brady Tkachuk?
One of the weirder things that I've seen get like a ridiculous reaction. Like, it was funny.
Oh, there were some people that are saying like, yeah, Brady Tkachuk's not cut out to be a captain. Like, this is why the Senators aren't going to get over the hump. It's like, he's fucking around. Like, he's absolutely just like joking. Like, they think that he's like
objectively funny.
Like wires crossed. Like, oh, I'm so mad. I'm going to sit here and do like, no, he's fucking around.
He only did it like once too. He just went like,
yeah, he did a couple of them. He did a couple.
Well, the first few, he was like just following. Like the one over exaggerated one was. I thought it was funny.
Right, I enjoyed it.
I could not believe that there were people that were like, this motherfucker. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, I'm like, yeah, weird. That's a terrible thing that a captain does, as I sit here watching the Boston Bruins and Brad Marchand try to fight everybody today.
Yeah,
I'm like, that's not captain behavior. That's just awful. How dare he?
If there's a loser lap that I'm gonna take, if these couple of games mean everything, Flames don't suck as much as we thought they would.
3-0 now. They scored 16 goals.
I still think they suck.
Yeah, and again, when we were talking about the Flames we're literally 3 games in, so everyone just calm down. We're just fucking around. But
season's over. If
they have any kind of success whatsoever, a big reason that they were going to be able to do that was Jonathan Huberdeau finding some semblance of his old self, and he looks great, making plays, scoring goals. And Anthony Mantha decided to give a shit so far the first 3 games. His Flames debut gets the Gordie Howe hat trick. Like, looks really good. So if he can be engaged, he's a very fun player to watch. He's a pain in the ass if your team's playing against him when he's like on and feeling like remembering that he's like 6'4" and like 210 pounds, just like a premier power forward. When he remembers that and feels like showing everyone, he is a fucking handful. So he looks really good. Dustin Wolf looked good the other day too. So, I mean, good for them. And Rasmus Anderson and Mackenzie Weegar, both, they look really good in the back end this first few games here. So, good for Calgary.
Good for them. And good for the Colorado Avalanche. Can you imagine what they're going to do with frickin' McKinnon and Haggins down the middle next year? That's going to be scary.
Colorado Avalanche, 0-2. They've scored 8 goals. They've given up 14. It would appear that goaltending the first 2 games, literally 2 games. So it's pretty crystal clear. This is a correct take, and it will be in April. The goaltending stinks. And they're just an absolute black hole on the back end. Them and Nashville too, except Nashville's just playing low event hockey. I think they've got 3 goals and like 7 against in those 2 games.
What's really funny is like it's panic button on Nashville and Colorado. No one cares that Edmonton has gotten buried at home, scored 3, 15 against, and everyone's just like, I mean, yeah, look what happened last year. I'm sitting here wondering, like, how long do I wait before I want to put my future on them?
Well, I was thinking the other day, like, who else has coached Connor McDavid when he was like 10, 12 years old that he could get hired?
No, the real move, they fire him, they bring back Woodcroft.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. I mean, Connor McDavid, 3 games, only 2 assists, and he's -5. Jeff Skinner leading the way with 2 points. They looked like they've looked in all 3 games horrific. Like they have been horrible.
That is the difference from last year, though. Last year they looked good and just couldn't get a damn save. They've looked objectively bad.
Yeah, I mean, they're also not getting saves. But that being said,
I don't think it would matter.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Pickard, he's only started one of his 2 games. He's got 417 with a 778. Stuart Skinner in his 2 games with a 540 and an 805 save percentage. Dude, like they've looked so bad. And again, 3 games in, so that's a massive sample size. So that should they're probably going to go 0-8. They're going to be battling Colorado for James Higgins.
Yep. Now, not to overly nerd on you here, but Lord of the Rings. I know you're at least loosely familiar.
Heard of her.
That ring is a heavy burden. Weighs on Frodo. We saw like what it did to Gollum, right?
You did.
It buried him completely. And we see Frodo with the early struggles. The Toronto Maple Leafs captain's patch is the ring. John Tavares is like crinkled up old Gollum, like barely clinging to life. And he's looking over right now at Matthews like, yeah, good luck fucking scoring, dude.
Yeah, this is still my team, motherfucker.
Like, it's not so easy to score when you're wearing that patch. How about?
Yeah, dude. Let's see.
3 games, no goals, no points for Austin Matthews. Burn Toronto to the ground.
Yeah, no, I mean that's about it. He's gonna finish again. No goals this year, probably.
Tell you what, though, Domi and Nylander have looked fun.
Again, at this point, given the last 8 or so years, the hatred for Toronto is like for now surpassed Montreal. It will absolutely be back with Montreal because I'm very scared about what they're going to be in a couple of years. I can't find a single thing I dislike even a little bit about William Nylander. I think he is one of my favorite players in the NHL. I love
welcome.
I absolutely love that. Like, there's so many stars in Toronto who get like a little bit, and by a little bit of scrutiny, it's Toronto, so it's outrageous. But like that guy, give a fuck meter is -700. That's the reading on it at all times. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to be like at least a point per game. I put up 100 if I give a fuck, if I want to. He's doing interviews and like a beater. Like he is the best, dude. Best friends with David Pastrnak, so that's always a big plus too. Just 2 beauties.
Kind of a loser move though that he like copied Pasternak's jersey number.
Nope, love it. Don't care. Love it. Maybe love him even more. Love William Nylander.
It'd be different if he started with it. He went from 29, which is like a fun, obscure number, right? To like, oh, Pasternak's doing good. I'll wear 88.
Well, I mean, I think Lamoriello also did not allow him to change from 29. That was very much a thing where he did not let anyone have like crazy numbers. So, they're best friends, so I love it.
Man,
Matty Nyes, by the way,
love him. Love him. Oh, it's so fun. I am cheering for him, not for the Leafs. Him and Willie Nylander. That's it.
Yep.
And I just hope that Tanev doesn't die because that's probably what'll happen now that he's in Toronto. I said that Domi's looked good, and he has. Did he send Rutger McGroarty into early retirement?
That was bad.
I saw the play and I didn't realize who it was, and like casually learned later, like, oh fuck, that was McGroarty. Jesus Christ.
I watched that play, and when I tell you I audibly gasped, it was, I felt bad. I've just felt so bad. I mean, he was still in orbit when he hit the boards. Like, he was still in the air, had not touched the ice yet. Like,
and it wasn't even like great. It was just like switching to his forehand, and McGrory went flying into the board. Is he okay? Is he fine?
No one knows. But we were talking
everyone's too afraid to ask. Everyone's too afraid to ask.
Jesus. What if Crosby said that? They asked him like, so is Rucker, like, have you checked on him since? Like, we're not going to ask Rucker about that. No,
we're giving him time to process.
Giving him space.
He needs to talk to himself.
So we talked about like 88 being a cool number. Rucker, McGrory, and Will Smith, I'm not okay with them wearing 2. It confuses me so much every time I see them. I'm like, oh, a defenseman stepping up. God damn it. Nope, that's not a defenseman.
Yeah, no, the forward wearing number 2 really throws me off. I wasn't surprised Will Smith was number 2 because he's been number, like, that's just his number.
Still weird.
It's very weird seeing forward. And also just being in Boston, every, like, the amount of retired numbers, every time I see another team and I'm like, oh, they're allowed to wear number 2 and 3 and 4. I'm like, oh my God, that's cool. That's going to be really cool for them. And now there's like 5 more that will get retired in the next couple of years. I'm like, they're going to run out of numbers in Boston. So every time I see those numbers, it throws me off in general. But yeah, no, forwards wearing number 2, boy, that really throws me for a loop. It's confusing as shit.
Yeah, it's tough. It's not great. The other, I guess, big thing here with like McKinnon, we know like he wants to murder everyone always. He's hair triggered. I don't blame him for being every bit as pissed as he is so far. Rasmus Dahlin is physically exerting that anger out on his teammates in practice. How do we feel about this?
Fine. And I mean, there was a big thing in the summer, how he had everyone come to Sweden. They did the bit, and it was like, oh yeah, this is going to be the difference. They're going to get together as a team. And I'm like, have they never thought about doing any team bonding in the off season before? Like, was this the first time they came up with this idea?
In fairness, they looked around the city, they saw Buffalo. They're like, we're going to bond here.
Yeah.
I actually like Buffalo. Like any Sabres fans, like, I don't know that that's where I would choose to like move and live year round, but Buffalo's a fun city. Like, I enjoy it. Good beer, good food, across the board, good people. Honestly, a Bills tailgate is definitely a bucket list item for me. I just want to see my kid at least like say his first words before I go and risk my life on something like that. But
yeah, contrary to what people probably think about me, I think I'd be too afraid. I would go, but stand in the distance and observe and just drink beers.
You're for sure the guy that's like egging people on. Like, you're like pushing me a little bit. Like, dude, go jump on that table. Just fucking do it. Pussy. You pussy.
That table's talking a lot of shit right now. I don't know if you want to put your elbow through that thing from like a second story. Like, when I don't know if you want to do that. Like,
hang on, that is probably a real scenario that happens out in that tailgate. Like, goes up like, dude, that guy, that table right there, talk shit about your wife. Like, the fucker did.
It's like
it's up on top of a van. Cuckoosh.
It's like Bill Burr talking about his dog, his psycho dog, feeding off his energy. He's like, "Are you mad at the door? Are you mad at the door?"
Oh shit.
No, the Sabres stink.
Which is too bad. They shouldn't.
Yeah, they are. It's a weird team in general. I mean, they had a real nice win the other day. Jordan Greenway scored in the one win. But they are. It's tough. It's a tough watch right now. And we said when we did our predictions that we both had Ottawa. Oh no, we had Detroit below them. But the separation between Ottawa and Buffalo is getting more and more clear. Even though Ottawa's had a weird start to the year, the game today against LA was a 8-7 overtime win. That was insane. And hopefully Olmark's not out long term. Hopefully that's not going to be a crazy long term injury. But Buffalo is just. They're almost in a weird spot where it's like we have too many young guys who are like pretty similar and play similar positions, and it's like, oh, the balance right now is super weird. And by the way, there's like 10 more young prospects who are gonna be ready to play in the NHL the next year or two.
Dude.
So I don't know what they're gonna be looking like in the next couple of years. I could be totally off, and they might all somehow just make it work. But it is, I mean, it's a weird watch because there's so many players that should be very fun, and it's just a very weird collective.
Hot take here, a little bit of a spin zone as we transition into the Wild segment. Bill Guerin is bringing in all of these gritty bottom six guys, signing them to deals because he's just loading up ammo to fucking fling over at the Buffalo Sabres to bring in their excess of young talent. Just like we saw with that McLeod deal for Savoy. Like, what if, like, would Wild fans just immediately forgive Bill Guerin for these signings if he's like, oh yeah, I'm literally going to pawn all of them off to get the young studs out of Buffalo? If Zach Benson ended up in a Wild jersey, Bill Guerin would have like 10 years of runway. I would not.
Very realistic possibility. It feels pretty likely that's gonna happen. Yeah, that would rule. I mean, it would be great. He's just at that point, Bill Guerin's just living in 2030. Actually, I can't even say 2030. That's not that far off. God, that's fucking weird. He's living in 2040 at that point, you know? So yeah, let's transition to the Wild, dude. First of all, specifically with a not weird Wild, I love that Bill Guerin's now taking part in the content. Like, I think it's very funny.
He's done it several times before.
True, but I feel like it's few and far between. I've seen him in a couple already. I'm like, I don't. He could sign everyone to a 4x4. I don't give a fuck. I love Bill Guerin, and I always will. He rocks. Like, he is just forever 20 years old. Like, he is permanently 20, just like one of the guys. He is just ridiculous. I just think he's funny. So I love him. I don't give a fuck.
No, he is not forever 20 years old. He is forever a college hockey player, but he is that like 27-year-old that's still just hanging out with all the like 20-year-olds. Like, that's a way better analogy for him because he is still like the big, like, oh, I'm going to get in your face guy. But he's like, no, we're all the same age, right? Like no, we're not.
He's Bill Guerin year one in Pittsburgh forever. Like, he is always the year one of Pittsburgh Penguin Bill Guerin. That is him literally forever. Like, he's never gonna change. I love him. But 3 games in, Minnesota Wild, they look fine. They look good. Like,
they've lost 2 of their 3 games, Z.
In overtime, yeah. And well, 1 in overtime, 1 in a shootout. Now the Seattle loss was super annoying because you can't just continue to give up the lead every time you take a lead. But before we do any like deep dive on anything with Minnesota, I have been watching it since it happened. I think that is the worst penalty call I've ever seen in my life. The Jonas Brodin.
Be more specific because there's multiple. Let's be clear. I am not a side with the fans and blame the refs for everything because I think some fans are insufferable with how mad they get about reffing. This is the first time where I'm just shutting up and letting them go because they've got a good case. Like, it's been brutal, dude. Brutal.
I'm not kidding. I will tell my grandchildren or someone else. I'm not going to have. Who am I kidding? Someone else's grandkids. I'm going to tell them about it.
Dude, you're going to tell the fucking dog at the bar.
Yeah. Like, did you see that fucking that was, I'm not kidding. I think it is the worst call I have ever seen in my life. I don't even know. I figured it out eventually, like a day and a half later. I was like, I think what the ref thinks, what he thought that he saw was like Brodin like bracing for the hit, like someone normally does when someone comes to hit them.
No.
And like his leg was there.
I disagree. He
don't know what he thought.
He saw the sell job from the other player. Like, he threw his head back so hard, and with the right angle, like you could see where he'd think that maybe Brodin hit him, but it was just like.
But even that doesn't make sense. How do you land on tripping?
The tripping call makes no sense. I'm just saying, like, that was more like a bumblefuck. He's like, I know something bad happened. Trip.
That I mean, it is. I could not believe it, and I was actually even laughing at like LaPanta when he was doing. Like they watched the replay, and I think LaPanta just goes, "Am I seeing something else?" It was very funny. It was like I could not believe.
Am I seeing
that the one that ended it up in the box was fucking Judd'z Budz. I'm not kidding. That was absolutely the worst call I think I've ever seen in my life. Like it was crazy. That being said, I still am not gonna be like, oh, that's someone was like, that's why they. Well, a lot of people were like, that's why they lost. I'm like,
There's
no,
a
that's
lot
not
of
why they
reasons.
fucking lost. I mean, you can't just continually just give up the lead. Like you just can't do that. And then I also had Seattle fans be like, what about like, you're an idiot. What about the clear trip? Also, he kicked him in the face. I was like, he was falling down. He didn't kick him in the face, dude. It's crazy. But all that to say, they look fine. Like, I have had a lot of people reply any video that I put out. So, like, there's been plenty of people being like, huh, they should have lost by 10. No, like, what? They were like, bad line changes, bad roster. I was like, line changes?
No, hang on. Bad line changes. Completely agree. It's actually going to be the plague of this team all year. If you can't figure out your line changes, you are done. That's the funniest one for me. That's really funny.
I was sitting there like, what are you talking about? I had 2 people do it. I was like, if there was one guy, wouldn't even mention it other than being like, that's objectively hilarious. That like
we don't have Darby working the game.
I was like,
that's weird. I will say though, looked fine, sure. Not having Ekin Spurgeon for any amount of time is very, very concerning.
Yeah, so that's where I was going. Next was the one thing that we said. Okay, good.
Very.
Oh yeah, very. Very. The one thing, or well, one of the things that we said, if they want to have a successful season, make the playoffs, injuries were going to play a big role, and they've got 2 big ones. Joel Eriksson and Spurgeon. Hopefully, I don't know anything about how long term it is. X nose on that elbow was, I mean, it was pointed the other way. Because I needed to get the video for Russo. And I slowed it down when I took the video. I was like, oh my God. When he took his glove away in the replay, his nose was like, over here, dude. But I was like, oh, fuck.
The worst part of that whole ordeal is that they made him come back out just to play one shift and then be done for the game. And they made him wear a fucking fishbowl. And he'll never be able to get past that.
It made him sick. It made him sick to his stomach, most likely.
Fishbowls are terrible. I'm sorry. I'll never. No.
Yeah, you just go full. I mean, if you have to do it, go cage.
Yeah, go cage. That's fine.
Yeah, fair enough. And the Spurgeon thing makes me nervous because unless I'm just not thinking of it, like I don't recall like any. So that's bad.
Bad. And I think some fans,
because before that he was looking so good, and it was like I am so happy watching Jared Spurgeon play hockey again. Again, I don't recall any big hit or any play where he like limped off or whatever. Yeah. So like that's when you're sitting there like, it's been a couple years now of these lingering injuries. He's got a bunch of time left on that contract. He's
it's not even
it makes me nervous.
Fuck lingering injuries. He just had like 2 of the scariest surgeries in the same offseason. And I think half the fan base is like keenly aware that this is bad. I think the other half is like, oh, like I didn't see anything happen, so maybe he just lightly tweaked something. It's all good. Like this is ideal.
Usually
like,
worse.
No, like he is. I'm scared. Is this the end of Jared Spurgeon? Like I hope not, but I am very worried about that situation. I'm sure like he'll be fine.
He'll be fine.
And he'll keep doing the nonsense that he does, and we'll love him for it. But dude, Spurgeon is very, very concerning for me. Let's flip it to where we're not concerned. There's 2 names at the top of my list. I'm assuming they're the same 2 that you have. Who would your top 2 players be right now?
I mean, how long do we want to talk about Matt Boldy?
Forever.
Who's
the other player? Who's the other player?
Gustafson.
Okay, we're on the same page. Continue.
Yeah. Matt Boldy. So, like, again, it was funny. I do not pay attention to very many athletic writers at this point, other than Russo, to be honest. And your boy in Pittsburgh. Oh my God.
Ouch.
Oh my God. Why am I?
When you said my boy, I thought you were going a different direction there.
Well, and your boy Joe. Oh well, there. Now I'm turning.
You said Russo and your boy in Pittsburgh, so I don't know. That sounded pretty exclusive.
Either way, doesn't matter. Yeah.
You're a Jesse Marshall follower?
I love when he goes on podcasts. I love listening to those, and then I love just like his
articles. Rock.
Yeah, his like deep dive breakdowns. I think are fucking incredible.
I love though, like he explains it really well, but I just truly appreciate that he does better than anyone. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to talk about. I'm then going to explain it, and then I'm going to show you a video that brings it full circle. Like he doesn't just like tell it and hope you understand it. Like he spoon feeds it slowly so that anyone can get it. And even someone like you and I, who like, we know what we're watching and what we're reading, we still like, it's not over the top where it's like, oh God, I know this, fuck off. Like, no, like he does it so well. He is, and granted, like we've had Russo in Minnesota forever. Joe's a new addition, but I signed up for The Athletic because Jesse Marshall joined it. That is why I signed up for a subscription, however many years ago it was. Yeah,
no, A plus writer, one of the best in the business, for sure. But like, I went back recently and I was just like going through, like, just out of curiosity, like the predictions in the offseason, whenever. It's been a pretty wide range of opinions that like Boldy was poised for like a big year. I thought people just weren't paying attention at all. Pretty much everywhere you look, like people like Boldy might go off this year. He looks like he is poised to do that. In the past, he's had a couple slow starts, which always hurts. But like this year specifically, he looks like he's on a mission every single time he hops over the boards. The fact that not only does he have that ridiculous offense, he is so fucking good as a two-way forward. Mm-hmm. Like, he is one of the better all-around players in the NHL. Like, you can put him on the ice in any situation. And again, like, when he got hurt, it was, like, in the preseason, it was, like, half panic-inducing because it was like, well, that was a big reason we thought the PK was going to be a little bit better. It was like, God damn it, he was going to be a big part of that. PK still stinks, by the way. So that's good. We could bring us down a little bit here more.
I mean, you could also argue that March's act would help that quite a bit.
Yeah, that would help. But Boldy right now, he gives you something in all three zones, any situation. He looks like, assuming health, which I mean, we have to fucking knock on wood, like cross our, like, I mean, at this point, I am desperate for 80% health for the roster, like in general. Like, I just don't know what to do anymore about how many fucking injuries they get every year. But like, if he stays mostly healthy, I'm not even gonna say fully healthy because that's just a fucking, you're just asking for bad karma. He looks like he might be a 90-point guy, regardless of who his line mates are. And by the way, he has had a couple very funny whiffs, but Marcus Johansson looks good. I think he looks good. Again, one of the things that he does really well when he's on it is just the transition, carrying the puck through the neutral zone and getting you a clean zone entry. He is such a fucking good skater. And when he can get them an easy zone entry, like there were a couple in the preseason and in the first two games where he was just floating through multiple defenders and establishing possession in the offensive zone and getting that cycle going. Like, he is a huge part of that. So yes, he's had a couple of very funny whiffs. Like, it was like 2 back-to-back. I think it was the first game. But he looks good too. So hopefully Eriksson can come back in the next game or two here, which, I mean, fortunately and unfortunately, like a broken nose Like a broken bone's better than like whatever Spurs was dealing with, like a long-term lingering thing. Like any structural stuff, like, all right, that's better because you heal. But hopefully once Eriksson comes back, they can just pick up where he left off because they look very good as a line.
If Eck ever gets his jaw wired shut, will you change your profile picture?
I don't know. No, I can't. I don't think I can. I mean,
you probably can't. People still think that's what you look like, so we got to stick with it.
People still think it's spooked, so I mean, it's crazy.
That's only some. You made that very clear at Tom Reed's when you accosted everyone, but
hey, motherfucker, read this.
Fuck. Bill Guerin said before the season, do you recall what his moonshot was for Boldy?
Did he say 100?
50 and 50.
Yeah.
He's pacing right now for 55 and 82.
Feels likely. Feels likely.
Watch.
No, but he looks so
Guerin. It would be so funny if Bill Guerin was like on Twitter and like was victory lapping right now. Like,
I think he said he has a burner.
Dude, especially with how many fans though would like be like just commenting like, dude, what's with the 4x4 no moves, whatever. He's just like, yeah, I told you fuckers.
He did say that he does have a burner. Like I know he has a burner.
Yeah, but that's not the same as if it was like, this is Bill Guerin and I am victory lapping on my Matt Boldy call.
Just that's openly engaging with fucking every fucking fan.
Honestly, if there's a GM
0
that
followers
do that, it's
following
him.
40. Yeah, I mean, yes, absolutely. That's why I love Bill Guerin. He's the best. But yeah, and then Phil Gustafsson, both games that he's played so far, he is looking fine. I think he's at a 199 and a 947 the first 2 games. Making
the amount of fans that were
saves.
Offended that he wasn't traded this summer. Again, I want him to be here to go 50-50 next year with Wallstedt. Like, I don't know how we get from here to there because it's going to be very weird at the goalie carousel because I know they want to get Wallstedt more reps. Do you think we can talk Fleury into a trade?
We don't have to do that. We don't have to do that.
No, Gustafsson has delivered, and it is very early, but can't be upset with the return so far.
Again, realistically, anyone that was taking the reasonable approach or like take on Gustafsson, he was somewhere in between the 1 year that he really went all the way off 2 years ago and last year. He's somewhere in the probably closer towards like when he was solid.
Yeah.
Like that was the reasonable take. Like anyone that was like, I knew it and like was celebrating when he was just like a sieve. Like it was like, this is a very weird strategy for fandom, but like, go off. I don't really care. People can be a fan how they want to be a fan. But the reasonable thing was he was somewhere closer to that, but it's in the middle. Like he's not going to have like a career 940, like a 1.6 goals against.
Dude, he's great. What was really weird for me, and again, like it's skewed a little bit because I have several adult beverages and I'm at the game, but Game 1, if I told you to pick 2 lines that you were very confident in what they were going to do coming into Game 1 of the season, which 2 would you have picked?
2 and 1, really, probably.
1 and 3 for me, and those 2 were the ones that were kind of concerning in Game 1, and 2 torched. 2 was the one I was very like, what's going to happen with? Like, is Johansson going to work? Like, is it going to be for Boldy and Eck to not be with, Kaprizov? Like, and
that's my JoJo bias. That's my JoJo bias. I love that man. So
it's really fun that's like your brand because you are the only like. There's plenty of Wild fans that don't hate him like the greater fan base does, but like you are the only one that outright supports him. But I take that back. There's one other one.
There's one other one, yeah.
One more prominent one that you can't not listen to if you listen to the game in Minnesota with volume.
We will start a new podcast just called The JoJos with you and LaPanta.
Yeah, it's us for 3 hours every day.
But really, that isn't what we're going to get viewers from what we're going to get viewers from is having a little segment where we literally just throw Russo on the screen and have him listen and just break shit.
On mute as he's screaming.
On mute.
Like he's not allowed. It's literally just a picture of he's just going nuts.
It's the scene from Always Sunny where they're trying to be like rock and roll guys. So then they just go and get a hotel room and start breaking shit. And Frank's like, why don't you guys get him to let you in here without putting down a credit card? They're like, oh, we took the one out of your wallet. What are you talking about?
What? But I mean, yeah, no, again, and not that this even needs to be explained, but my JoJo bias is heavy on the fact that like I was really hoping they'd trade for him in 2019 here in Boston. And then they got him before the deadline, immediately became best buddies with Marchand after Marchand pretty much fucked his whole career up with that elbow, the little flying elbow that gave him a horrific concussion the year before. And then in the playoffs, him, Coyle, and Heinen were the reason they went to the Cup plus Tuukka. So that's where my bias comes from. He was so fucking good that playoff. Oh my god.
Would you agree though?
We can move on.
I think the toughest thing with Johansson, though, and it's different than like other stops in his career, just the way the team is built. Like most of his career, he's been like your go-to 3C or third line winger, right?
Winger, yeah.
He was center for a while.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's not important. That's irrelevant. Now in Minnesota, it's pretty much he needs to fit on the second line or he doesn't have a spot. Like you're not putting him on your third or fourth line here. Based on the makeup of the team, which players you have, like he's just not going to be a better option on either of those lines than the guys you have there. It's like he needs to work on the second line or he's in the press box, right?
Minnesota's just off the top of my head, probably the first team that he's been on in his career where like all four lines are demonstrably different. So whatever line you're on, you have to fill like one, maybe two specific roles and things that you do. Like all four lines are way different in Minnesota. Like, and still at their best, they're rolling four, but like four very, very different lines. So it's he has to fill a specific role, which realistically in his role now, it's get those zone entries and just facilitate, use your leg and just move. It's like just keep the puck moving, get into the offensive zone, establish possession, and play some decent two-way hockey. It's fine.
Yep. The two guys then that I need to get opinions on, and we can move on to Judd'z Budz. Trenin, how do we feel?
I have fine. I mean,
he seems to be the target for the fan base right now.
Yeah, that's what happens when they make one like real signing for more that's not like a two-way or like a league min or whatever. And it's like the attention gets heightened when it's like everyone knows the reason that he was brought in was to be a big help on the PK. And I think their PK is ticking at 57%. But again, like you said too before, like they didn't have Eric Sacker and Spurgeon last game. I mean, I think it was still only 2-1 loss, so it shouldn't really be that bad still. But I think he's just still trying to find his legs and like figure out exactly what his role is or what they really want to do. I mean, they've gone back and forth too with like Rossi and Hartman as a center, which like if those two are centers, your line's doing different things. Like I don't know, I'm not worried at all. Like I think it's crazy when it's like, I mean, I don't know. I don't even know why I get surprised by anything anymore. The reactions. I mean, yeah, he has not been noticeable for good reasons.
I'm not overreacting, but you can objectively say he hasn't been great, right?
Yeah.
Like it's way too early to make a judgment on a player that just got brought in.
Right.
I understand why fans want to make him the target.
Yeah.
But like, let's give him the month of October, and if he still looks like he does now, I'm totally on board with the fan criticism. That's fair, but it's been 3 games. Things have shuffled. It is what it is. But you brought up the other guy that we got to talk about, Marco Rossi.
I love Marco Rossi, dude. I mean, it's
never heard of her.
Never heard of her. I love the fact that whatever role he's been asked to play, he's at least filling it to like satisfactory expectations. I think 3 games he got 3 assists so far. There's a few shifts where like maybe he has like a turnover, whatever, misses a chance, something, but he always bounces back and responds. And overall, by the end of the game, he's filled a role, played like fine. And like last year, he had more goals and assists by 1. But you want, like, if you're gonna assume that he's gonna be a big point producer at some point in his career, like it's always tough when you're like a middle 6 guy with more goals or whatever than assists. But like, I just like that he's been super versatile so far. Even like last year, like we said, like he was producing goals and some assists in different roles, different lines, and he was kind of just doing what Marco Rossi does and is just being a good hockey player. So I've liked his game so far. Again, there's a bunch of shifts where maybe he's not super noticeable, but every once in a while he comes up with a big play. And again, you need three games, 3 assists. So
yeah, this is where I wish I was maybe a little bit better at articulating what I'm seeing on the ice, but the simplest way for me to put it, he looks so much more confident and more comfortable than he did last year. Like, don't get me wrong, there were times last year where he was good, but last year it felt like he was fighting it and like he knew he had to prove that he like deserved keeping. This year, he seems like he's playing more free and like he knows he's doing the thing out there. And like you said, like there's definitely spots where he's making mistakes. He's not playing flawless hockey, but he's not letting it fuck up his psyche and he's going out there and he's still doing the thing. I think largely he's looked great. There's missed opportunities. There's spots where you wish he'd either like be more physical or do something different, but like he looks the part. And I think if he gets extended runway with that, Kaprizov Zuccarello line, like that could be a very, very efficient line. It's just, are they going to let him stay there long enough, or are they going to do the rotating chairs with him and Hartman all year and make them both worse for it? That's what I hope doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. Wherever you're going to put him, first or third line, at this point, I don't care. I think he'll do well on both. Make a fucking decision.
Yeah, no, 100%. And like when you look at last year with him, it was almost like he was like constantly in like fight or flight mode, where it's like every time he stepped over the boards, he knew he needed to make something happen and like make a difference somehow, and was just like trying super. And like it's like you said, it's like hard to like put it accurately like in words or whatever, but like he just looks like he knows that he belongs and then he can fill whatever role they're asking him to play. So he just again, it's the confidence thing. He knows he belongs. So I think if he gets that longer runway playing with Kaprizov and Zuccarello, I think like 10, 15, 20 games in, they might be firing on all cylinders. Because again, one of the best characteristics for Marco Rossi is how smart he is as a hockey player. So, again, hopefully if they can get some consistency with like line mates, that's going to make a huge difference for him, but also make a huge difference for Hartman, where like, exactly what the identity of that third line is. If it's Foligno, Hartman, and Trennan out there, like they know what their role is. Marco Rossi, you're probably like leaning on more like offense there, probably a little bit, at least like young skill guy or whatever. Hartman, it's like, yeah, I have some offensive touch. Realistically, all 3 of them do, but like the main, like what we're rolling you 3 out there for is just maximum chaos. So,
yeah.
But yeah, no, I hope for both him and Hartman's sake that they just give some longer runway to the line makeup.
With you. All right. Well, real brief break here, and then we will come back and dive into a couple of Judd'z Budz who have just looked awesome.
Back. I can't. No, the fire thing. Dude, it keeps every time I look at you. I'm like, oh, what's going on up there?
I know you like it.
I know.
All right, let's get into the Wild prospect pool. All Judd'z Budz, and Cosgrove kicks us off here. Yurov was hurt at the beginning of the year, right? I thought I saw he had like 0 points in 5 games, and now he has 6 in 11.
Yeah, so that was a couple notable prospects that are really playing well at the moment. Danil Yurov, yes, missed the start of the year, had off-season surgery, immediately came back as Metallurg second line center. He's fluctuating back. He's playing more center than wing, to be honest with you, at this point. He looks fucking incredible. Like, he is flying out there. He looks like a playmaker. So we had 2 more assists this week. He's up to, I guess I said 6 and 11. But Metallurg was like not great without him, and he came in. He's made a big difference on the power play. He's made a big difference on their penalty kill. Again, this is a ridiculously talented 2-way forward with high offensive upside. And I think at this point, his face-offs, he's like 65% right now. But he looks great. So definitely came back, immediately got healthy again, and looks like the same Yurov that was like in peak point production mode last year. And they're asking to do even more this season so far in those first 11 games. But he looks great. Like, he looks very, very good. And I expect him to just keep racking up some points here as they go on. They had a couple other injuries. They're fully healthy now as a team, Metallurg. So I would expect, again, him to even continue like getting more and more points, hopefully over half a point per game at the end of the year, or not even half, or by the end of the year at some point here, but he looks great.
Rapid fire here, quick. Is Yurov coming over as soon as his season ends?
Yeah, I think he does come over for next season.
For next season or for this season?
I mean, I asked me that question after the trade deadline, I guess. Like, because
we won't.
There's plenty of other guys that are already here.
Center.
Whatever. If he comes over here, he'll get like a couple, and he'll get like the Ogren games last year.
Okay, so you don't think that there's not that there's not a chance. You don't think it's likely that they just slap him next to Kaprizov and say, "Let's see what happens"?
No.
Okay.
I'd be surprised if that.
Okay.
I would be very surprised if that happened.
Oh, well, a bunch of fans just turned off the podcast. All right.
I mean, it's going to happen. It's going to be great. He's going to be the best player on the planet. He is. It's him and Felix Sorum. Best players in the world. And
Mr. Foss. Mr.
And
Foss. All right. Well, never mind. I was going to say, I kind of want Rossi to just end up on the third line for most of the year so that he can keep playing as soon as Yurov comes, but never mind. All right, next guy we've got to talk about here because all the fan base gave up on him after training camp. Riley Height's still good at hockey, apparently. Who knew?
He is torching again. Had a hat trick. Was that yesterday? 2 days ago. So now he's up to 11 points his first 6 games back. He's got the captain. So his hat trick the other night, or the other, it was Saturday. 3 great goals, 3 phenomenal sellies. Like, I mean, the selly game at this point is
it's never been a concern.
It's on another level this year. He scored his 3rd goal and went like this to the crowd. He counted with his fingers. Like, he was like, I stood up I had my hands on my hips. I was like, oh my God, that was electric.
Not 1, not 2, not 3. If we hooked Judd up to a lie detector, you think he'd admit that like half of the reason he took him was the vibes and the celebrations?
I mean, it's
like, there's actually like 7 red flags, and I understand why he fell to the end of the second round, but we saw a couple of those sallies and we're like, boys, we got to bring him in.
What, are we not going to draft that guy?
I mean, we know we're going to be trading Adam Beckman, and he's the only guy that has good goal celebration vibes, so got to replace it somehow.
Yeah. Obviously. I mean, again, like, what are you're going to leave that guy sitting there? You're not going to take him, those ridiculous sellies? Yeah, but he looks so fucking good. I had one person yelling at me like, I don't understand why would we send him back to the WHL, and I'm like, well, because there's nowhere else that he could have played. Like there was no other option.
There have been repeated questions on Fellowship of the Rank where people want to know, like, yo, why doesn't he just go play in Europe? And it's like, because he doesn't fucking want to. Like, it's that simple. Like, he is a 19-year-old that does not want to go overseas and play with nobody that he knows. Like,
Kumpalainen went to his hometown team that his dream as a child was playing for Pelicans. Like, that was his dream growing up.
Hang on. How sick would it be if he went over there to play with Kumpalainen? I could get on board with that.
Yeah, I mean,
fun.
Pelicans, they kind of stink this season, so I'm out on it.
They wouldn't anymore?
Yeah, true. That's a good point.
Yeah,
but anyways, Riley Heidt, he looks unbelievable. Again, the playmaking, the goal scoring, all 3 goals that he scored in that hat trick the other night were 3 very different goals. Like the first one was a ridiculous breakaway and just danced the goalie out of his shoes. Second one was a snipe from in tight, and the third one, this release, short side, was so nasty. Borderline bottle rocket. Water bottle went off, but did not pop all the way. So, he flirted with the bottle rocket. But again, he looks dynamic. And I know everyone was not pleased with the preseason and the fact that he's not on the team. To be honest, I would have been shocked if he looked like he belonged. He's still super young. It's a very different.
Hang on, I'm going to stop you there though, because I don't think that's why fans are mad. I think fans are more mad that he didn't really do much. Like they expected. They're mad that they can't be mad, if that makes sense. Like they wanted to be mad that he sent down because he came up and torched in September, and they're like, oh no, like you didn't really do anything. Okay.
Yeah. So I guess it's more disappointed than anything. I guess
disappointed in general for sure.
Either way, him playing WHL again this season, being a captain for Prince George on a very, very, very good Prince George team again. This is the right spot for him, and he's going to have another monster year. He looks incredible.
Z, we have some news.
Damon Hunt called up. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Could be good, could be bad. Like it's good. Oh, nope. We're gonna have to adjust all that. See, early technical glitches when we try and look fancy. So yeah, Russo says Hunt's been recalled. Fun for Hunt because he absolutely deserves it. He's looked awesome. But this pretty much says the Spurgeon thing is bad.
Yeah, he's gonna be missing time. I mean, I figured that was gonna be a thing.
But it wasn't confirmed before. Now it's loosely confirmed.
Yeah, true. So Hunt again deserves games. He's ready to play in the NHL as is. I watched Iowa's second game on. Oh, that was yesterday. They actually looked they had a horrific start, and I was like, I cannot believe I'm going to suffer through 60 minutes of this. And then halfway through the first period, they turned it on, and they actually looked incredible. Like Hunter Haight, I cannot believe he didn't finish with at least 1 point. Every time he picked the puck up in his own zone, he was flying through the neutral zone, dangling guys in the offensive zone, generating high danger scoring chances. Like he looked so fucking good. And the other guy that looked very, very good, Mikey Millen, is off to he looks phenomenal in Iowa. And again, like he missed like half the year last year with injury. I think he finished top 5 in points on the team. Like he's another one to just watch out for the next few years, like a bottom 6 role or 4th line role. Like he plays really good 2-way game. He is a prick to play against. He's very physical, even though he's like a small guy. But like he's got some ridiculous skill. He could score. Like he is very fun, and he looks phenomenal for Iowa right now. Like he was very fun to watch.
We like that. Okay. Well, unless you had other ones that you wanted to prioritize, we've got 2 college guys that need to be discussed. Is there anyone else you wanted to sneak in before we round out on the college players?
Just a quick shout out to Sebastian Suini. His last 3 games in Liga, he looks really good. Like they're playing him like 15 minutes, looks very comfortable, scored his first goal the other day, and it was an absolute short side snipe. And I've said this before, Ilvesh, that barn, I need to go to a game. That place is insane. Like it looks like so much fun. The sweaters are sick. Some of my favorite jerseys on the planet are Ilvesh. But he's looked really, really good. He had like 1 or 2 games with the big club, got sent down to like the U20 league for 1 or 2 games. And since he got recalled to the big leagues, like he looks really good, very comfortable, strong first pass, and then looks like legit scoring option. I think the other day he had like 9 shot attempts. So he's looking more comfortable the last few games. So I was very happy to see that. But that was the other one I at least had to mention a little bit here.
There you go. Well, then we've got to talk. I don't know which one. Well,
the big one.
Wait, in stature or?
Yeah, I guess so. The one, I mean, the Charlie Stramel, Michigan State. We said before the year that what we needed to see was, even if he wasn't producing every game as far as like actual point production, he needed to be one of their go-to guys. He absolutely is right now. Scored his first 2 goals in a big win against BC the other day. And he looks awesome. Very, very happy for him. Again, 2 real nice goals, 1 tip in, and then that short side snipe or bad angle snipe in a big win against BC. He's playing on their second line.
Gabe Perreault looked good too.
Yeah, true. He looked great. But he's also playing center. Like last year, once he got healthy again, he like was pretty much like pigeonholed to like their 4th line, right or left wing. He is playing as a top 6 center on a top 5 team in the country. He's got 3 points in his first 4 games. He's winning faceoffs. He's blocking shots. He's playing defensive hockey. He's still super physical without crossing the line. And now, again, as we said, 3 points in his first 4 games. He looks like he is where he belongs. Like, probably would have been great if Nightingale was there and had him there the whole time, the first 2 years of college. But either way, looks like he's finding his way now. And he looks great. So very happy for Charlie Stramel. Very positive start to his career as a Spartan here. Let me just read. I'm going to pull up his actual stat line. Yeah, 4 games, 2 goals and an assist for 3 points. He's a +3, 7 shots, only 2 PIMs. Love that. And I think he's like 40 for 70 at the faceoff dot, and then a couple more block shots. So he looks great. So very happy for him.
We like that. Everyone, too, just throwing this out randomly right now. Go to the link in the comments, in the chat, whatever. We're looking for mailbag questions for this week on Fellowship of the Rink. Last guy here, Z, who I think we're both excited about. The late round diamond in the rough. What can you say about Jimmy Clark?
Jimmy Clark, we waxed poetic about this kid every week last year, pretty much throughout the whole college season. He's playing on line with Connor Kurth and Matthew Wood. The first 2 games, that 7-1 win against Air Force, he was, let me pull up the actual stat line because it was comical. All 3 of them were +5. It was, and he also added 2 assists with a couple of shots on net. He went 7 for 13 at the faceoff dot, and he blocked a shot. They're throwing that line. They're throwing all 3 of those players in every big situation or any situation, really. They're killing penalties. They're on the power play. It's been one of their go-tos his first 2 games here. He looks so good. Like last year, again, very much was like filling a role. He looks like a different player, like knowing that he is going to be one of the first guys to be sent over the boards for any like big situation. Like on the forecheck, he is just a menace. He's winning pucks, like not just forechecking to like throw a hit. He's winning the puck, establishing possession, creating scoring chances from his forechecking. Again, the passing game we've talked about before, that was one of his main calling cards in USHL. He's one of the better passers in that league. but he looks so good. And once, like you said before we jumped on here, when Matthew Wood gets fully comfortable with Minnesota, oh boy, watch out.
That's the thing.
So
Like, he doesn't look bad, but you can tell like he's still kind of working.
he's finding his way.
Yeah.
He's figuring out like, where exactly he belongs. They're a very different team than fucking UConn. So, like, yeah, no, he's finding his way. So the first 2 games, again, Jimmy Clark looks so fucking good.
Dude.
Love that they got him the 7th round. I love this player. Like, again, last year there weren't very many points because it was pretty much like, hey, go fill a role, like go do a job real quick.
Yeah.
Now it is like one of the go-to guys, which I love. And shout out Beckett Hendrickson, scored his first goal against the Air Force too.
Hey, I know Hendrickson too. Like, he's wearing 14, like that was his dad's number, whatever. I still see Brock Faber. Not enough time has passed. Like, you can't wear 14 yet. I'm sorry. I don't make the rules, but I just made rules.
But I did.
But Jimmy Clark too, like last year we waxed poetic for sure, but we were all year grading him on a curve, right? Like, oh shit, this guy got called up a week before like the season kicked off to replace Logan Cooley, and look at what he is doing as a true freshman that didn't think he was going to be playing here. We had Bob Motzko on Fellowship for the Rink a couple weeks ago. Go back and listen if you haven't. He like very, very much believes in Jimmy Clark, loves what he's seen just from his growth and development from that year. And the fact that he threw him in with Kurth and Wood to start says everything you needed to say. Like, not just watching the games and like listening to the box score that Z read off, like just the fact that he was put there is a big deal. But he's looking the part. He's going to do the thing. And you're excited about him this year. I'm so uncomfortably high on the Gophers this year. It's not good.
They look.
It just sets me up to be disappointed. But like, they look fucking like, yeah, they lost against Omaha in the.
They had the puck the whole fucking game.
They dominated that game. They got goalied. You get goalied. It happens.
I looked at the stat sheet after.
That game was bad. Nothing was bad.
I looked at the stat sheet after that. It was a 2-1 overtime loss against Omaha. I was like, were they only counting every other shot for Minnesota? Because like I was like, I think they had more than that in the first period. Like I was thinking, I don't believe this shit. They had the puck the whole fucking game.
Yeah,
but
and this weekend will tell the whole story, right? Like those games are different. We aren't sure with the goalies too because they played against 2 different teams that both look fine. Duluth's frisky and fun. Gophers should absolutely win both the games, but like this is going to be the first game where you get a little bit of the hate and the little fuck you to the game and see how they can react to it and handle a series where they play the same team back-to-back nights. That's going to tell me a lot about how I feel about them, but either way, they're fun. I'm uncomfortably high. And the one guy we got to watch out for, which of course, fuck Chicago. Like
I was just going there. God damn it.
No, were you? Wait, which guy?
Or well, actually, you know what?
Maybe we have different guys. Yeah, which guy were you going to say?
I think Sam Rinzel's about to go on.
You stole my words. It's not on the outline. Sam Rinzel is going to have a fucking year. And then when you said that, I'm like, wait, is he going to be talking about Rinzel or Moore?
I thought you were going Moore.
No, I was 100% going Rinzel. He's going to be good, dude. Good.
He looks scary. Every time
don't get me wrong,
he's on the ice, I'm like, uh-oh.
I'm a big Chesley guy, but Rinzel may end up being the alpha by the end of the year. It's going to happen.
He may have played 30 minutes both nights. Like he may have. What is this? Duluth? That's what they're playing next? Aaron Pionk in Duluth?
Oh, yeah, baby. Aaron Pionk. Yeah. And, dude.
They might kick the shit out of them. I think they're going to. I think they're going to.
Dude,
beat the shit
I said this to Joe last week on our episode with Dean. He's always like, yeah, the Gophers just like never have a bad blue line, huh? I'm like, I don't know if that's always true, but yeah, it's by and large been pretty successful. Their blue line is too good this year. They're going to have 2 guys scratched every night that should be in a top 4 somewhere. And I'm not saying like a top 4 going out to Air Force. I'm saying like among the top 10 teams in college hockey, the guys being benched should be playing regular minutes in one of those destinations. It's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, fucking Ryan Chesley, Eric Paulson, Brody Zemer, Why not Brody Zimmer? Why did oh my god, that just really threw me off. Same with Paulson. Dude, Minnesota needs to fix their fucking
They got
website.
some badass freshmen. They got a lot of freshmen that are all like big and experienced, and it's just dude, even like the veterans on the team have said like this is a different kind of freshman class. Like they're just ready to go. Like there's no fucking around time.
Yeah, I mean John Whipple's he's fun.
Oh, and you know what the most fun part of all this is?
I don't
Like
know why.
they have to make the Frozen Four. They absolutely have to. And it's all going to come full circle for Jimmy Snuggerud to be fucking raising that championship trophy in St. Louis and then just literally already being packed and staying there.
Yeah. I almost lost my mind. Yeah, it was yesterday. Minnesota, fix your fucking website. Oh my god.
Gophers? Which part of it?
It only works for Google Chrome. And then yesterday it was just
don't be a peasant and don't use something besides Google Chrome.
No, I know. And then I used Google Chrome and it was like 404 error, unknown problem for 4 hours. And I was just losing my fucking mind. This is like every single time I go to their website. But anyways, I was just reading
your internet.
No, notice that it's been good today.
It has.
But I was just like about to just go off and read the names of every defenseman. I named 2 forwards because it had 2 pictures up with different positions with different players. And I was like, wait, those are not defensemen. As I was reading fucking Zimmer and Paulson, I was like, wait a minute, why am I reading this?
Tough luck.
No, but dude, Rinzel, Whipple, Koster, Rude, like Middlestack, Calthon, like it is a joke, dude. These defensemen, they are, and like a couple of these motherfuckers are big and mean and very fun. Also, yeah, I am very high on Minnesota. I'm very high on them.
Also, RIP in peace to the 5th year seniors. This is the last year that we will have COVID-induced 5th years.
Yeah.
It feels weird because it like just became such a norm.
Yeah, I know. Everyone just like adjusted so fast, and it's like, yeah, this is how it's always been. It's like, no.
Gophers like, holy shit, this is what it's like to have players like Quinnipiac. This is kind of fun.
Yeah. There still will always be at least 2 or 3 players playing college hockey. I'm like, they're still playing college hockey. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I mean, the middle stats have also, or not middle stats. Oh my god, Pitlicks have always like broken my brain. There's just so fucking many of them. they're always like, there's always a Pitlick playing college hockey.
Good.
Yeah, he is. But like they have broken my brain for like a decade. Like how are there so many of you? It's like, nope, they're all different.
Dude, Red Pitlick is gonna do like stupid numbers this year.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Playing in a team where he literally is just like leash is unsnapped. Just go. Just play. Have fun, buddy.
No rules. Prison rules.
You're not gonna get benched like you would by Bob. Like just go do your thing. It's fun.
You tell me when you're up.
Shit. All right. Well, that was an overextended Gopher segment added on to Judd'z Budz. All right, Z, we're going to round it out here for very early this year for us. Last year, you were like, we do not talk about prospects until December. Now we've already got some pretty early like risers and fallers that you felt compelled to discuss for the 2025 NHL draft. Let's start here. Do we want to start with the risers or the fallers?
Yeah, real quick. The only reason that I was like, yeah, it's worth doing this right now is because like already the top 15 or so looks significantly different than it did when we did our preseason lottery, whatever, top 16. And like substantially, like half of the picks, I would say,
or like half of these guys are probably like flirting with top 10 that like we hadn't even brought their names up before. Probably should have, yeah, but again, that was even significantly early already. So
talk to me though, because I think it's important for like listeners who are maybe more casual followers of like NHL draft prospects, right? We've had not even like full draft years, but we've had stints throughout the season where like there's been a big shuffling of player names and where you put them. But I feel like at certain points, it's like this player did nothing wrong. Other players have just excelled, and that's why they're getting pushed down. And there's other times where it's like, no, this player has been awful, and no one's doing anything to push him down. These risers and fallers, is it largely that like players are torching early and it's pushing people down, or are players playing poorly and leaving an opening in the top 15?
I a little bit of both. Like,
yeah. Okay.
I mean, one of well, I don't even want to go. I want to start with the risers, but like a guy like Anton Frondel will be in the latter category for sure. A lot of that has to do with he just played his first game of the year.
Oh, okay. Fair. All right, well, let's start with the risers then. Who do you want to lead off with here?
So I would say one of the more drastic risers of the last like 2-3 weeks. I mean, like for me, I'm sure there are other people who have been all over this already, but like Jackson Smith, a left shot defenseman for the Tri-City Americans and WHL. He is massive. He's a 6'4". I think he's listed at like 6'2" or 6'3" on like the WHL website, but I think it was Hockey Canada that maybe were like 6'4". Yeah, he's a big boy. But he combines this frame with absolutely ridiculous skating, already has all the defensive aspects of the game down, and on a Tri-City American teams that doesn't really like to use a ton of like rush offense, especially from the back end, he is super active in terms of jumping up on the rush, getting involved offensively, experimenting with the tools in the offensive zone. He does that, and like he's a little bit raw just in terms of like deciding when to go and when to stay, or like when to jump up and when not to. But when you look at the raw tools combined with the frame of like a 6'4", 200-pound left shot D-man, just the mobility, the size alone gives him like a very high floor. But the fact that he's got some really good skills, he's got nice hands, he's got a great shot, he is physical, he's mean. He kind of just like grades out tool wise very high, like in every category. So this is a guy that I would imagine probably by the end of the year is a pretty consensus top 10 guy for sure. And he has been a fucking animal so far for Tri-City. I think he had another 3-point night the other night. I got to pull up because it was literally once I put down my risers, like my stats were already not accurate anymore. Because he put up like a 3 or 4 point night the other night. Let me pull it up again here. Where is he? Come on. Yeah, no, he's got 8 points in 7 games. And again, this is a Tri-City team that does not really involve defensemen in their rush offense whatsoever. But he is flying out there. He's one of the best defensemen in WHL. So he is definitely one to keep your eye on. I think he actually did go like second overall the WHL draft a couple years ago. So like realistically, I'm sure there's plenty of people who had him very much on their radar already. It's tough at this point. You're grading a lot of like, or you're doing a lot of rankings just based on like the D-1 tape. So, and Tri-City stunk last year. So I think he's like -30 last year. But this year he's off to a ridiculous start. Again, the fact that he combines the frame with all the tools and the fact that he's got like the willingness to experiment with those tools, it makes him a super, super high ceiling player. So he's definitely one to watch. But like his skating is absurd for a guy his size.
It's like how far did he jump in your mind? Again, super early. Like I get it, but like this is a guy that you never even talked to me about before when we were like discussing first round picks this summer. Like, is this a guy that you're like, oh yeah, he could very easily profile as a top 10 pick, or is it just like this is a guy that's probably a first rounder?
I think when we did our first one, like it was like at that point in time, you're pretty familiar with the guys that you put like in your top 16 or whatever. Yeah. And then like, the guys that should be first round guys, and you can put them in any order and it's going to change in like a 2-week period. He was a guy that would put in that latter category. It's like, yeah, he's definitely a first rounder. Like he's a very good hockey player. Haven't seen him on a good hockey team yet, but we'll see how it goes. And the first 7-8 games this year, he's been absurd. So now he's like probably, I would imagine consensus. I'd be shocked if he wasn't like consensus top 10, 11, 12.
Oh, okay.
I think EP, I think put him at like 7 or 8, something like that.
Okay. Fair.
He is legit. He is a fucking player.
Talking about the CHL quick. I think Pete Blackburn's a very entertaining dude. I think their podcast is fun. They were talking about US-based teams, and they were convinced that there were only 2 that exist across the CHL. And then like them slowly unraveling, being like, oh shit, there's at least 6, and we think there's more. Okay, fuck. Let's abort. We're not going to talk about this anymore. The one that I'll like hand up admit, I had zero fucking clue that the Erie Otters were in the US. Did not know that.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I know. That's so weird to me. Like it just doesn't
make sense. Played junior hockey.
Correct. That's what really messes it up for him. Like, oh, so they're just like somewhere up in Canada. Cool. Got it. Like there's got to be some kind of Erie something. No, like that was Erie, Pennsylvania. But I knew a lot of the other ones, like easy to like look at Seattle and Portland. Duh. There's a ton in Michigan. Hunter Haight, shout out. I asked him if it was like weird winning a championship for the US. He's like, no, like we won. I'm good.
He's like, no. God damn it.
He will not be coming back on the show, but you guys should go listen to the one interview he'll do with us.
He said, I'll never come back. Thanks for having me.
I will say it's interesting because I got like similar vibes of like the person between him and Haight, having both of them on the show. Haight was like totally like, oh, thank you so much for having me. Like, I'd love to come back on. And Haight, I could tell he's like, I'm gonna be polite, but I don't really want to hang out with you anymore. I'm like, yeah, that's fair. I'm not a good time.
This was scary. I was scared the whole time. I was scared. I've been afraid.
He wasn't scared. If anything, like he came in, he's like, all right, so I've clearly marked you as a beta. Done. Oh, all right. Moving on. Tell me about Victor Eklund. And is he related to Slippery Pete?
Younger brother.
Fuck yeah. Better or worse?
He might be better. So he's a fascinating player. The only thing working against him is the style that he plays, not being 6 feet tall, and being pretty light. I think he's like 160. He's a 5'11", 160, right shot, left wing. He is absurd. So last year, when you just look at his point totals, doesn't really jump off the page. Like in the J20 last year, U20 Sweden, he was under a point per game. And for like top prospects, you expect them to be like at least a point per game. And then he made his way onto the Allsvenskan team for Djurgården. And at this point already, he's one of the best players in that league. He is an older player for this draft. He's late 06. So he's only eligible for this draft by like a month or so. But he's got this just uncanny playmaking ability. He's got a ridiculous shot, and like the motor is non-stop with him, and he affects the game in all 3 zones. Like he does everything, and he is like, he hits everything that moves. he will, even though he's smaller than everybody, he is going full speed, and he's strong as shit. But he is so fun to watch. I mean, last year he went up to the Allsvenskan and he was like 5 or 6 points in 15 games, which is very good for a young player. Usually you don't even get ice time. Again, by like 3 or 4 games in last year, he was already in their top 6, went on to the playoffs, and he was just under a half a point per game in the playoffs for Djurgården on a team that went to I think they lost in the second round maybe. But he was one of the better players in the playoffs there. And at this point now he's already one of the best teams or best players in the Allsvenskan. He's scored a couple ridiculous goals already this year, 2 off the rush where he's just like pulling up. He's got a 1-on-2 and he's like, fuck it, I'll snipe from like the blue line. And he is ripping shots through. He rocks. Like, he is so fun. For me, he's a top 10 guy at this point already. I would have probably put him closer to like 18 maybe when we did our last one, but he's a big time riser. And this is where I'll start talking about the Frondell thing. Because of how good he's been the last, like, at this point, like a year, the last few weeks I've just gone back and watched the Frondell tape, both for Team Sweden and for Djurgården, because they've always been line mates. A lot of Frondell's points come from Eklund, like driving play. Like, Frondell's awesome. I'm not as low. Like, I think EP actually put him really low, but he's going to be one of the guys that's falling because given how some of the other top guys are playing, come out of the fact that he's been hurt for like a year, like I can't consider him in like the challenging for first overall anymore. I can't do it. But like going back, and especially for Team Sweden, most of the play driving was by Victor Eklund as a winger. And again, affects all 3 zones. Very fun to watch, nonstop motor. So he's going to get, I don't know if he'll get taller, but he'll definitely like continue to even grow more muscle and get stronger. And he's already pretty fucking strong as is. Mm-hmm. I think the sky's the limit for this kid. I think he's going to continue to torch in the Allsvenskan. I think he's half a point per game at this point already. But he rocks. Oh no, he's just under a point per game now because he had a 3-point night that night. So nice. He is excellent.
So where's he sit? Where's he sit? I'm going to ask you with everybody, like,
I'll put around 10.
Around 10. Okay.
Yeah.
And for all these, you can keep it as simple as top 10, top 20, first round, whatever. Like, and if it's
I have a hard time putting him outside of 11 or 12. I'd have a hard time like any lower than that. He is he is ridiculous.
That's fun. All right, then we got to talk about Lightning McQueen, which it won't happen because of the way the draft works. But can you imagine if Tampa got him?
Oh my god,
that'd be fun.
Sick. I'd throw up. So Roger McQueen, 6'5", just under 6'6", right shot center for the Brandon Wheat Kings, another older 06 guy. So he's one of the older players in this draft class. He took a long time to adjust to like being 6'5". So like probably looking for some better numbers over the last few years in WHL, but he is off to a torrid start. And he's also like become a legit solid shutdown center as well, with ridiculously high offensive upside, and his skating's taken another step or two in the last year or so. So he's like beating guys one-on-one. He is hammering people. He's stick handling around guys. Again, one of their go-to guys in the PK. He is a very good defensive forward. Like, he does everything. So at this point, he is absolutely a guy that will be challenging for first overall. When you look at the overall profile, the frame, and just like how he can do pretty much everything, like his go-to forever has always been the ridiculous high offensive upside. At this point now, his B game is a premier, probably like 0.75 point per game shutdown center. Like, I don't see a world where he doesn't become a top 6 forward in the NHL. And it will likely be at center. So okay, he's going to be a guy that should be probably challenging for first overall.
Really? You're that high now?
I'm close. Yeah, I'm close. I probably
you had him, I think, like 9-ish when we did this in the summer.
Was it 9?
I might be stretching it. It definitely wasn't top 5. It wasn't outside the top 10. It was somewhere in that 6 to 10 range, but
I probably had it. Yeah.
But just like it's rare though that we have like this is a year where you had like 2 or 3, even a stretch to 4 guys. And we're going to talk about 2 of them later as fallers, but like it's rare that you have people emerge as being part of the discussion for number 1 overall. It's more like this is someone that's emerged to be top 5. That's a huge credit to McQueen. So awesome. Let's talk then. I think you had him 5 or 6 originally. So the fact that he's a riser means he must be another guy pushing for first overall. Michael Misa.
Yep, 100%. Another one of the, what's it called? The exceptional whatever players in the fucking CHL. It's such a weird, it's such a weird thing. It's so funny to me. But given how ridiculous Saginaw's been the last few years, he's been like pretty much like last year specifically, they loaded up obviously, and then he was pretty much pushed out to be like he played wing, more of like a defensive forward type guy that still put up good points. He is this year playing first line center on Saginaw. He is well over a point per game. He's scoring tons of goals. I think he's averaging over 2 goals per game at this point. Still is a ridiculously good 2-way forward. One of probably the more well-rounded players overall in this draft. Definitely going to be challenging for first overall. Probably would have said this like a couple years ago when he was like over half a point per game as a 15-year-old and 16-year-old in the OHL. He is ridiculous, and he is off to a crazy start so far in the OHL. Again, he's like a 6'1", 190-pound center at this point. And again, affects the game in all 3 zones, solid defensively. And now that he's being utilized as a center, he looks like an out and out center, like handling A+, passing A+. He's got a good shot, super, super smart player. And he's like gotten significantly more physical this year too, where he's throwing some big hits, and engaging at the right times. So he's another guy that's probably going to be challenging first overall here. And realistically, just given the fact he's exceptional status and he's been in the OHL for so long already, shouldn't be that surprising, I guess. But given the fact that last year, again, Saginaw loaded up and he was so young that they had him playing as like a defensive forward, as a winger, like it's not like he just wasn't really utilized as like a go-to guy for offense. Now he is, and he is close to the top of the OHL in scoring. So he's going to be another guy to be challenged for first overall. He is off to a ridiculous start.
We like that. Joshua Ravensbergen, which is just a fun name to say.
So
it's like if you took Ben Roethlisberger and put him in Baltimore.
Yeah, there you go. So Ravensbergen, goaltender, with essentially no glaring weakness whatsoever. He's fucking huge. He's a 6'5", 6'6". Moves incredibly well. What?
I said that's definitely not a weakness.
Yeah, no, size plus. But moves incredibly well in the crease, reads the play really well. Walked on basically to Prince George last year, the WHL, and became their starting goaltender last year, like earned a contract. And at this point, he's probably going to be Canada's starter at the World Juniors. And at this point, given how he's progressing, I would say that he's probably going to be, if he continues on the path that he's on, he'll probably be a guy that, like, for teams picking high that need a goalie that have nothing in their system, they're going to be looking at him like closer to anywhere from like 11, 12 to 16. Like, right, if there's teams picking there that need a goalie, like,
I'm going to stop you
given
though.
How he's playing, I would assume that's like, this is the best goaltender that Canada's produced, like, in a few years, like a few years.
Well, yeah, in a lot of years, but like, no one wants our goaltending expert analysis because we aren't qualified to offer it. But to simplify it for fans and listeners, compare him to recent goalies. Like, would you take Ravensburgen over an Askarov, over a Wallstedt, over a Kosa? Like, where does he stack with recent goalies drafted?
I mean, it's tough because he's kind of come onto the scene later than most. Again, this is a kid that literally like walked on to Prince George last year. But assuming he continues playing how he's been for the last year, which I don't really see any reason for him not to do that, he's going to be in that kind of a category. Guys like Askarov, Kosa, and Wallstedt, they all had long track records. Like anyone that was following goaltenders for the draft or whatever, like everyone knew who they were for years. Ravensburgen's kind of like come on late, and he is this massive southpaw. He's a right, he catches with his right, but he just has no glaring weaknesses.
I don't like that.
There you go.
All right, so I think it's pretty much determined then that whoever beats Edmonton in the Stanley Cup Finals is going to be pissed when Edmonton trades back, let someone else go to the 31st pick and take Ravensburgen. Yeah? Fair?
That's all. Yeah.
No one's arguing it. All right, last one that we have here for the risers before we get into some of the fallers. Lyndon Lakovich. Fun name.
An absolutely fascinating hockey player. So this is a 6'5" left winger who pretty much like primarily the last few years was like just a guy that was driving wide and shooting. Now he's become this like ridiculous playmaker, ultra deceptive, and the skating's taken like another stride. Like, I mean, he looks like a completely different player just with his skating. Love that, by the way, he plays with Kalen Parker and Moose Jaw. But like, he makes high-end plays at full speed, which we've talked about before with some of the players that were drafted last year. Like, the ability to blend, being able to move and think quickly is a big part of just like hockey sense in general, but he makes high-end plays at high pace. And the fact that he's like 6'5" is insane. So I think he is going to like rip apart WHL. I think he's well over a point per game already at this point, but the fact that he can blend the playmaking at top speed and he's got a real good shot. Like, he is a sniper too. Like, if he continues to just like torch WHL, he's easily top 15. Easy.
Fun.
He's fun to watch now. Such a different player last like year or two.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's pivot then. The fallers of the 2025 NHL draft. We got to start first with your boy, Anton Frundell.
Yeah, so this is tough. So, like, before we start, I mentioned, like, I think he literally just played his first game of the year. Like, he's been hurt. He was hurt a bunch last year, too. So, like, part of this is just the fact that he hasn't been able to stay super healthy. But as I was talking about Victor Eklund before, like, going back and watching the tape, a lot of the points that he was producing, a lot of it came from the play driving ability of Eklund, where he looks like a player that can be a really good connector, maybe not your go-to driver on a line. I still believe in him. He's still, for me, a top 10 guy. But, like, I went from being like he's going to be challenging for first overall to I'm not so convinced anymore. I still think there's a very fucking good hockey player in there. I see a potential top 6 forward that can score and play really good two-way game. But, like, game breaking, I have more questions about now. So we'll see, but it's just a lot different going back and restudying the like draft -1 tape and the Team Sweden tape, especially just given the fact that like whenever you watch those games, a lot of the offense was generated from a guy like Victor Eklund playing on the line with him. But there's still a ton of value in converting those chances. And I mean, his shot is a joke. Like, he has an absolute cannon that he could score from deep. But there's a ton of value, obviously, in like being a play connector and being able to finish in the shot, and he's got decent size and he moves well. So still a top 10 guy for me, easy. For sure.
Okay, that was going to be my question. So still a top 10 guy if we're drafting today. What about Jacob Wozniak?
He's falling quickly. He was, I think actually at the Holinka this summer, if you were to just look at the production, it was fine. I think he scored 4 goals in 5 or 6 games. Okay. He was an absolute ghost. I forgot while watching those games that he was playing. He's under a point per game so far with Lulé in the J20. He doesn't really look like he's driving play, which I guess wasn't really one of his go-to things in general, but very much reliant on who he plays with. He's a sniper. The shot is still ridiculous. He can score from deep, but you need to get him the puck in the right scenario. He's a decent enough skater, but I'm having more doubts about him hitting his high ceiling, just given how much of a passenger he's been, especially to start the year. The Holinka was legitimately bad. It was a bad tournament for him, and he just happened to be in the right spot 4 times, and scored. But the fact that he's well under a point per game, last year he was setting records for point production for his age in the J20. This year it's just been hard to watch. So I'd probably still keep him in the first round, but he went from being 6, 7, 8 on a lot of boards, probably closer to mid 20s at this point.
Gotcha. All right, another guy that you had as in the discussion for first overall, probably just on the outside looking in compared to the other 3 that we talked about more heavily, but Ivan Ryabkin was pretty early tabbed to be, the next in the line of great Russians to be, maybe in the discussion for number 1, but probably not because they're Russian. What's he done so far?
He's been fine. He's good. I like him a lot. He's probably closer to 12, 13, 14 range at this point. What's annoying is I actually think he would be significantly better playing 8, 9, 10 minutes in the KHL versus playing a lot in the MHL. He looks like he just doesn't give a shit in the MHL. Whatsoever. And every now and then he will produce some ridiculous play, whether it's him scoring himself or setting up a teammate or whatever. But at this point, it's pretty few and far between. But the engagement right now is just kind of confusing. So he's capable of pulling on. He's capable of going Sports Center top 10 mode every time he fucking touches the puck and just doesn't. But when he does, he makes it's a highlight reel play. The consistency is bad. Is one of the more inconsistent top guys for this draft class. I still think he's going to be he's the first Russian off the board, easy. Still a top 15 guy, easy. But before, I think at this point I put him 5 or 6 or 7. I don't even know where I put it. Either 5, 6, or 7 when we did this in the summer. I'm probably more comfortable closer to 13, 14, 15. I think he's still under a point per game in the MHL, which is not good. The MHL, he should be torching, but I just the engagement is not there. And I honestly think he would be better just filling a role in the KHL, which they'll give him 45 seconds.
I was going to say, be careful what you ask for there, but
no, I know. I think he'd be better playing. If that league wasn't so weird about young players, if he was playing 10 minutes a night, it'd be significantly better than him playing 20 in the MHL, to be honest with you. Just given how he approaches the MHL at this point. But who knows? He could turn it on the rest of the year and then he's right back where I had it before. But because the talent and the ability is without question. When he turns it on, he is incredible.
Fair. All right, we got 2 more here. First one, William Moore.
So another one
William less apparently.
Oh, damn.
That hurt.
I don't remember
that was horrible.
I don't remember if we had him in the.
I don't think we did. I'll pull up the doc, but I don't think we did.
Yeah, maybe not. So this is another guy where so the USN TDP this year is not good compared to past years. He should be able to, the USHL squad anyways. He should be his talent level is top 10 in this draft class. He is ridiculously good. He leaves you so frustrated virtually every
12. Sorry.
I did have him at 12. I thought I had him there.
Oh, wow. You had him ahead of the guy that we're going to talk about next, which I didn't think. But okay, continue.
So again, this is he should be their go-to center this year. He should be well over a point per game. He has game-breaking ability. Again, if he were to turn it on and just be consistent, he's a top 10, just raw talent in this draft class. He literally, you finish watching his games and you're mad. You're so much better than pretty much, 90% of the guys on the ice. And it's just he'll pull a playoff once every 5 times. But he can, and it's in there. And the talent's in there. So you're just waiting for him to decide to do it, and he doesn't. And you're just sitting there frustrated. So it's only been a few games, but I was enraged the last couple of games, and I was like, motherfucker, I can't fucking do this. I was pissed off, and other guys just jumped him in general. But I'd still put him in the 20s. He's easily still a first round guy for sure.
Sure. Especially
given the fact he's got top 10 talent, but he's becoming one of those players in a draft class that's just so frustrating because there's so many games where it's hey, if you decided to take this game over, you're absolutely good enough to do it.
Right. Remind me, which Boston school will he be attending?
Take a guess.
I really don't even know what that means at this point. They're both pretty freaking good. BC?
I thought he was BU. No, am I wrong?
Oh, I don't know. I just figured if you were going to say take a guess, I lean BC because I don't know.
Yeah, no, the second you were I don't know, I was oh, now I'm doubting myself. I thought he was BU.
All right, that's okay. We can move on to the final player.
Me nuts now, so.
All right, well, you find it then. Get it. Hit it. Nothing? No? Giving up?
Not BC. I was wrong. There you go.
Oh, see, based on the way you said it, I assumed that's what you were implying. So I'm very confused now, but that's okay. Last faller that we're going to talk about here as we wrap up the week, Charlie Trethaway. Was it 13 on your previous list? Let's hear about where he's at now.
Yeah, probably a very aggressive take. Every time I watch him now, there's one game where he thinks he's this kind of a defenseman, then the next game he's doing something different, and he just looks confused on the ice a lot. I think part of this just has to do with the fact that he's with this USN TDP team.
In fairness, see, that got Klingberg a lot of fucking money. So maybe that is the way.
He's just.
What if you interviewed him and he who do you model your game after? Oh, John Klingberg. That guy didn't know what the fuck was going on, and he made a lot of money. Respect.
Yeah, Klinger.
Respect, Charlie.
My boy Klinger, dude. But I again not the same as a William Moore, where it's bro, do do it, do the thing. It's more of I don't know if this player knows exactly what he is. Sometimes he looks like he's just trying to be a really solid skating transition defender versus there's other games where I'm oh, he's trying to run offense the whole time. He's good enough to do it. I think he's either one or the other for me. He's probably in the NHL 4 or 5 that you can play a ton. Not going to be a 50-point offensive guy, probably. I don't think. I mean, I'm sure there's other people that would disagree with that, but I just see the first few games, or I think he's played 12 or 13 games, something like that. A lot of performances, he looks like a tweener, and he's not sure which one he's supposed to like he doesn't really know his role, which part of that makes me think that it has something to do with the fact that he's on this USN TDP team. Because they're just not like, it is a very, very different squad than we've seen in the past. But he's another young guy. I'm pretty sure he's very young for this class. Yeah, he's an August birthday, so he's young for this class. But, and by the way, his real name, fun fact, is Charlton Trethaway, which actually makes me want to put him in the top 10. So,
That's so much better. I'm changing it right now.
yeah, no, delete him off the Twitter list. No, but he's big right shot D-man. I don't think, like, I just put Fall because, again, I'd probably have him closer to mid to late 20s at this point. A lot of it has to do with other guys really rising, but at the same time, there's just been a bunch of performances this year where, like, you're not really sure what player you are, I don't think. But
Sure.
I'm sure he's going to go off now that I said that.
All right, then last question, because I know you mentioned several guys now that are in the discussion for first overall. Is Hagen still firmly your number one, or are you like, yeah, he's like leading, but I'm not so sure?
Yeah, he's still he's played 2 games with BC so far, I think.
It's less about him than it is about other guys. Like, has anyone done enough to be like, maybe not?
I mean, no, but there's still challengers. Like, again, so this is what we talked about.
Right. I understand the concept. There's challengers. Okay.
Well, no, I'm just like, this is the first year that in a few years that it's been like, hey, we have a couple of contenders. Like, before it was like Bedard, no shit. Like, that's happening. It's not like that this year.
Oh, it's only been a few years. Like, it was Celebrini, no shit. It was Bedard, no shit. And then it was like, what the fuck is happening with this draft when it was Slavkovsky?
I think everyone was like, we know it's going to be they're going to go with Slavkovsky,
But that one was more interesting to me with what followed after it, which, of course, that was your draft of fame where you like nailed the top like 12 in a row. It fell off quickly after that, but it didn't matter. You had a lot to drink celebrating the top 12. Didn't matter.
It's like, we're here's done.
When you said Cooley's going 3, people shit themselves and he went 3. And then after that, everyone was on your side.
I'm like, all right. And then I started shotgunning beers.
Has anyone ever done a butt chug before?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, overall, like, good episode. Your internet held strong.
I changed it.
Did you actually?
Yeah. Well, I kind of. It was weird.
I'm proud of you.
So my apartment's very funny. Our microwave, like, short
Your
circuit.
microwave is how you get your Wi-Fi. Nice.
No. Like, if you like, often I don't even use I'm scared to use it. It will short circuit the rest of the electricity in the apartment. So what happened the other day, and fucking like our power went off, and then she turned it back on, and like my normal Wi-Fi did not, like, it was connected, but I couldn't. The error messages I was getting from these websites, I couldn't do anything. So then I rewired everything and I changed it. You know, you get like it's like whatever your normal Wi-Fi name is, and then there's like same thing plus 5G.
Sure.
I just, like, the 5G one never worked. Like, it was like my computer was insulted that I was even bothering. It was like, this is not fucking.
What the fuck are you doing?
So then I changed it, and all of a sudden it was lightning quick. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, this is all I had to do the whole time.
You know what? We'll just take the win and move on. We don't need to overthink it.
I was mad about it for 10 minutes, and I was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm a part of the world again. I'm not like finding out about news like 3 weeks later.
And now you can see, like, oh my God, that's what you fucking look like? This is my last podcast. Signing off.
Yeah, no, I haven't been paying attention. I've been just texting other people, be like, hey, do you want to start a podcast with me? I can't.
Now my bandwidth is too far reaching. I need 7 more podcasts now.
I have.
Oh, you
my
want to talk about
internet
Taylor
is
Swift?
decent.
In. Funny story. We were as we were LLCing stuff for the network, TSPN, like the Sota Pod network, was an idea. There's apparently a TSPN, and it is Taylor Swift Podcast Network. I shit you not. It's not LLC'd, but I also like don't want people to find them as they look for us. So I was just like, I'm not doing this. So yeah, that's a real thing.
Funny.
What do you talk about with a singer? Oh my God, her and Travis last week.
I'll
Don't say
I'll
anything
just
that's gonna get you in trouble.
No, I know. Out of context, I would get in so much trouble talking about my work. I'll set up microphones or recording devices in every part of my office. It is. I have been working before.
Swifty Central.
I don't care. Like, I don't get mad. I'm like impressed by how long, like how much there is talk about. Apparently, dude, like nothing's happening. Like it's the one day where she doesn't do anything, which is I think it might be rare. But like until lunch, that's don't try to talk to anyone about anything else. It's impressive. I'm not even mad about it. I'm just like, how long can they go? This is crazy.
I'm mad. It's amazing.
Like, yeah.
You pooped in the refrigerator and ate the entire wheel of cheese?
I'm impressed.
Baxter, is that you? Bark twice if you're in Milwaukee.
Sneaky funniest appearance in a movie for 2 seconds. Jack Black.
Jack Black.
That's how I roll. Just punts the fucking dog. The fact he goes, that's how I roll.
I knew it was going to be Jack Black. Like at first I was confused where you were taking it. And then when you said for an appearance for 2 seconds in a movie, I'm like, oh no, it's Jack Black. It's Jack Black.
It's so like
it was either that or there was a loose little piece of me that was maybe going to pivot to Ben Stiller.
A+, dude.
Like who else could have been considered? I guess you could have gone with like Luke Wilson. That's like who else in that movie could have been considered in the 2 seconds category? It's those three.
Dude,
loses his second arm. Oh, come on.
God, I did not see that coming.
Did not see that coming.
God.
Oh, God.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah.
God, that's a good end.
That's how I roll. Outrageously funny. Like just a nothing line, but who's like, that's how I roll. Just gets on his bike and leaves it. It's so good.
You just killed the one thing I love. Plain and simple. What do you love? Well, I love poetry. I can't get past poetry. Well, I love poetry. There it is. I love poetry and a glass of scotch. And of course, my friend Baxter here.
I don't even know if the camera pans to Jack Black immediately, but in my head, he just goes, he's like,
this just happened. And yes, Cosgrove, you're nailing him, of course. This burrito's good, but it is also filling. Chucks it out the window. I love too, like in most movies, it would piss me off, but I love how fake the dog is that gets punted by Jack Black.
Still made me sad. Don't care. Still made me sad.
Yeah.
As he was in midair.
God
Clearly
bless
a stuffed animal.
God, Speedster. All right, that'll do it. This is a fun one. Good one. Effective.
Nailed it.
Boom.
Yeah, no, we'll see everyone next week with whatever we feel like talking about next week.
60% of the time, you'll tune in every time.
That was something else. I don't know why I didn't see it coming. It just sounded